2024, Brawl Stars has the biggest financial year of its existence, raking in an estimated $678 million. Fast forward to 2025, their annual revenue drops by over $400 million. Then, they came back. First, some context. Brawl Stars is a game that solves something no other mobile game really had: real competitive team-structured multiplayer. This is a difficult task because while there are a ton of competitive computer games to mirror your mobile game after, most of said computer games are demanding on hardware and take a double-digit minute duration per game, both of which are something a successful mobile game can't afford to do because mobile players typically want to play in short bursts on their phone. Brawl Stars solved this problem by making the combat in the game incredibly simple, fast-paced, but tactical, giving the game variety elsewhere in the form of different objective-based game modes, maps, and of course different brawlers which vary in their strengths and weaknesses. I want to focus on that last part. The game has tons of different brawlers. Now, the heart of Brawl Stars is player versus player, 3 versus 3, and in these matches you and your teammates aren't allowed to pick the same brawler, which kind of pushes you in the direction of picking 3 brawlers that work together and cover each other's weaknesses. If you have a bunch of long-range brawlers on your team, you are vulnerable to an Edgar or Buzz jumping in, opting for one of your teammates to instead pick a brawler that can punish them, such as Shelly. As of now, there are enough brawlers that every single one or another has some type of counter. In my opinion, the ability to pick different brawlers and all the factors you have to weigh when doing so, such as the map, game mode, your team's picks, or the other team's picks, is the reason the game is so successful. Additionally, Supercell is a master at character design and have been creating lovable, iconic characters for over a decade, but that is a different story. So that is what I attribute Brawl Stars' success to, but what of it? Well, the game released at the end of 2018, and because of Supercell's successful design decisions, the game was picked up by people around the world, with the epitome of its success accumulating in 2024. In 2024, they had constant content, monetization running as hard as it could, and a ton of big collabs, one of which was literally with SpongeBob, all contributing to a $678 million year. A year basically proving that their game's design and monetization system was incredibly successful. Or was it? Nobody looks at their best year and asks what it cost them. 2025, Brawl Stars got greedy, progression slowed, power and ability started to feel like something you bought, and the gap between a player who spent and one who didn't stopped feeling like a gap and started feeling like a wall. The community, and more importantly the players who were not spending money, noticed, which impacts the game's revenue more than you might think. A competitive multiplayer game runs on the players who don't spend. Despite not bringing in any revenue, they're the product, they're the ones who fill your lobby, who you get matched against, and the reason you can find a game in 4 seconds instead of 40. So when monetization pushes them out, it's naive to assume you're not losing money because they weren't spending anyway. What you actually lose is the population that made the game worth playing, and once that's gone, the people who were spending leave too because there's nobody left to play with or against. It's a monetization problem that turned into a retention problem. Retention problems are much harder to walk back. And as a result, their revenue for the year dropped by over $400 million. When games dig themselves into a hole, many opt to just keep digging instead of backtracking. Brawl Stars backtrack to an extent. I mean, the game is still very overwhelmingly trying to get you to spend money, but financially speaking, 2026 has been a good year for them. It started slow. January was around 25 million, February 29, then it picked up. March and April low 40s, May about 48 million, the highest month since December 2024. 65% growth in 3 months, which in my opinion signals a pretty real recovery. And the reason this recovery happened is kind of backwards from what you'd expect. Reporting on the recovery points to two things: a meta that rewards skill over spending, and paid content that moved towards cosmetics instead of power. They took the exact thing that made 2024 the biggest year the game had ever had, and they turned it down, which I find extremely interesting and also brings up the following point. I don't think 2024 was a good year that later went to waste. I think 2024 was the mistake itself. The build just took a year to show up. The model that made 2024 their best year was a model that could only be financially successful for 1 year. It was not a sustainable plan for the long-term future of the game. Brawl Stars team realized this and recovered. What the fuck is this guy talking about? Alright, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I wrote this script based on research, not based on me playing the game. And I loaded up the game and played for about 25 minutes to get some background footage, and holy shit is it like an overstimulating dopamine amplified ass game. I knew it was like that to an extent, but I swear it did not used to be this bad. For starters, the menu screen literally fills up every section of blank space with buttons and things encouraging you to click them. Yeah, this game is like way too much. I understand game development is a business, but this takes shoving monetization down your throat to like a whole new level. Nice job, Supercell. Okay, aside from that, they are having a much better year this year from the last, at least financially speaking. But now I'm unsure of if it was because they switched the focus to cosmetics. Regardless, there are some directions that I think they should go in terms of the actual gameplay. It'd be easy for me to turn the rest of this into a list of stuff I personally want to add to the game, but my ideas have real reason behind them and I want to show you. So let me start from what the recovery actually proved and build from there. Here's the box Supercell's in now. They've shown they can't sell power without eventually paying for it, which means the focus of paid stuff pretty much has to stay cosmetic to an extent. But cosmetics have a ceiling, and the ceiling is attachment. People buy skins for characters they actually care about. Caring about a character comes from getting good at them. Getting good at them requires the character have a role deep enough to get good at. And this is where I think Brawl Stars has a problem that has nothing to do with money. Most brawlers do the same job with a different coat of paint. Deal damage, don't die. The kit's change, the role mostly doesn't. Which is part of why I keep coming back to Overwatch as something worth looking at. Something that I believe Brawl Stars should be looking to model their game after. Overwatch's whole idea is that a character could be built entirely around a job the team can't function without. The roles are incredibly concrete. Take Reinhardt for example, he's basically a wall that walks, and the way his team plays is different because he exists. Now Brawl Stars does have support. Gus shields people, Pam heals, but for these characters support feels like an afterthought. Look at Gus's shield, it's a buff you put on someone, it soaks some damage and runs out. Reinhardt's barrier is terrain, it makes cover exist somewhere it didn't. It changes where a fight can physically happen. That's the actual gap I'd point at. Brawl Stars is a game built around cover, walls, bushes, sightlines, and basically none of that cover comes from the players. The map decides where fights happen. Players just show up to whatever the map already gave them. And I know there are characters with gadgets that create obstacles like Spike and Ruffs, but I'm talking about a brawler who could drop a large barrier with a decent amount of HP. It's a thing the game doesn't have yet. It would be something that makes open ground a thing you can fight over instead of a thing you avoid. Second idea, Brawl Stars already has a whole category of brawlers built around skipping the map, jumping walls, dashing through cover, landing behind you from somewhere you couldn't see coming. The counter to that is basically guess right and don't be there. What Overwatch has that Brawl Stars doesn't is a way to punish the commitment itself. Something that can grab a brawler mid-jump and pull them down, or something that can damage brawlers in the air. I'm talking about giving the dive a way to actually fail. Right now it's mostly a free opener or damage dealing attack. Give it a real counter and it becomes a read instead. And here's where this connects back to the money. More distinct roles means more characters people specialize in. Specializing in a character is what makes you attached to it. Attachment is what makes a cosmetic worth $15. Supercell already proved they can't sell power anymore without it costing them later, so roster depth is kind of the only revenue plan they've got left. But I want to end on the part that actually bugs me, because I don't think the story's done yet. Revenue's back near it was during the strategy that broke the game in the first place. Same number, supposedly a different way of getting there. So here's the question I don't think anyone can answer yet. did Supercell actually fix the tension between making money and keeping players around, or did they just build a version of the same machine that's harder to spot? If the paid stuff stays actually cosmetic and the meta keeps rewarding skill, I think this ends up being one of the better comeback stories in mobile gaming. If it drifts back, and there's probably going to be some pressure to drift back once someone compares this year financially to 2024, then we get to do the same video again in 2028. I make games too, and the thing I took from all this is that you can get rewarded a lot for a decision that you don't even know is killing you. The numbers will tell you it's working right up until they don't. If you want to watch someone build something with none of this figured out yet, the devlogs on the games I make are right on my channel. Anyways, as always, thanks so much for watching.